Bless up, y'all. King Kevin in the building. The Nottoway Plantation house has been burned down to the ground officially. I've seen a lot of videos, not all of them, but a lot of videos. People barbecuing, lighting up Black and Miles, rolling up backwoods, barbecuing, got the grill out there, and celebrating the torture, celebrating the destruction of one of the most traumatic buildings in U.S. history. Now, in America, we have the tendency of dancing around important subjects: racism, reparations, police brutality. They'll dance around, give us statues, give us parks, museums in honor of our ancestors, but no financial reparations. And there are countless examples of this. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm very happy that that plantation house burned down. I think all of them need to be burned down to the ground, museum or not, because they want to preserve our traumatic experience in America as Black people being enslaved, captives, kidnapped, and brought to the United States of America, land of the so-called free. But we all know it's not free. It has not ever been free for us, and we still are incarcerated. Now, on a more serious note, even though that plantation house has been burnt down, there's still the Evergreen plantation house. There's still the Whitney plantation house. These are antebellum plantation homes, which means they were built around the Civil War, which is, as you all know, ended in 1865. But homes or plantation homes built around mansions, rather, these plantation mansions, which were built on the backs of our ancestors, blood, sweat, and tears, their lives. They were maimed, they were killed, they were mutilated, humiliated, effeminized. I mean, all kinds of torturous things happened to our people there. Let's not even make light of that. Even though all the jokes are being made about it, they went through something very serious. And antebellum means that the mansions, antebellum plantation mansions were built around 1861, 1865 at the end of the Civil War, which this country fought to keep slavery going. And Abraham Lincoln only wanted to stop the war because it was going to tear down the whole nation, the whole union that he was building. It wasn't because he felt so sorry and sad for the Black folks that were on plantation farms, like the sugar cane, the cotton, tobacco farms, etc. You go to Caribbean islands like in Haiti, Bahamas, Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, and several other ones. You know, they were coffee farms, they were sugar cane. Lots of sugar cane were made. As a matter of fact, Haiti produced Europe's damn near 60-65% of all Europe's imported sugar. Sugar was the cocaine of that time. Just like they moved kilos of cocaine throughout the world, come out of Mexico, Colombia to the U.S. and all over the world. Same thing with sugar. And Haiti was the biggest plantation, sugar plantations in the world, providing all of the world's sugar. So it just tells you how much power and wealth were accumulated on the backs of our ancestors. Now, what you see behind me here is a small farm. You know, there's plants there. You know, we tilt the ground. Every season, you know, when it's time to recultivate the ground or aerate it, you know, we tilt it, we plant, and you know, you get a harvest. That's just a small little area. You guys can see behind me there. This is a small little area. It's not that big or oppressive, you know what I'm saying? But you imagine 100 acres, 200 acres that our families and ancestors were killed on, worked their fingers to the bone. You ever heard that phrase, work fingers to the bone? That's working fingers to the bone. They had to produce pounds, a certain number, quarter pounds of cotton, for example. You might have to produce 20 pounds of cotton, you know, big barrels of cotton. If you didn't, you were lynched sometimes. You were whipped to a bloody pulp. I mean, the experience and the fact that they ignore that history and just make light of it like it never even happened. Like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter to us, and we have to make it matter. Could the Nottoway plantation burning down be the ancestors coming back and calling upon us, enjoy and saying good job? Or was it just that they burnt it down and want us to take over the further burning down of this racist system in America? Are these other buildings, will they be burnt down as well by our ancestors? Or will there be some Pan-Africanist who's going to burn it down, making a stance? I don't know. I'm not saying to go burn down any houses or buildings or plantation homes. But I will say this, we need to focus our energy on getting reparations, getting our just due. This country made billions of dollars on our ancestors' back, and we get little, next to nothing. The Jewish Holocaust survivors, the European Jewish Holocaust survivors, they got reparations. They get a monthly stipend every month. You know what I'm saying? Even the Japanese, when there were Japanese and Chinese people were in those entrapping camps in America um, during the 18th century, early 20th century, they even got reparations for their treatment. The only recorded reparations for African Americans here was the Rosewood. What happened in the Rosewood massacre when dozens and hundreds of African Americans were displaced out of their homes and homes were burnt down to the ground, all because of a lie. You know what I'm saying? A white female said that a black man assaulted her, and and he did it. It was a white man that assaulted her, and certain people got wind of it, and they made sure every black person in sight was killed or was able to run away. The Tulsa, Oklahoma of 1921. What's so funny is that when they speak about the Nottoway plantation, how this was a beautiful place for weddings and for banquets and what these people are going to do. Oh my God, we're going to do about our weddings and our plans and our banquets and our funds, our picnics. They're not telling you about the slave auction that went down over there. They're not telling you about the hundreds of people who were enslaved, 155 people that were recorded being enslaved on that property. They didn't tell you about the births and the families that were separated, the girls who were molested there, the women who were sexually violated there, the men who were literally had their private parts cut down and castrated and hung and lynched on that land. But they romanticize this plantation just like any other plantation in America as some icon of hope and history and symbolism of freedom. How could that be possible when we are still enslaved here in America? You can't even talk about the 1921 massacre of the Black Wall Street. You have Viola Fletcher, who was one of the only living witnesses, and two other black men, all over 100 years old, centennials, who still have not gotten their just due, who were not even able to see justice in real time. They're gonna be dead by the time. Well, she's the only living survivor, being 111 years old as in 2025, the only living survivor. And what really broke my heart is that when I read about her story, I read upon some of the news articles of the congressional hearing that she did back in 2022, is that she still sleeps in the living room, sitting up with the lights on. Because when she was 9 years old, when the bombing of Black Wall Street happened in the Greensboro district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, she was 9 years old, and her and her family, who were able to survive and make it out of their home, was only able to take with them the clothes on their backs. That's all. The clothes on their backs. It wasn't time to pick up any family heirlooms, any type of furniture or documents, nothing. The insurance companies rejected all insurance claims. If you experienced any insurance claims in the recent years, like in 2025, 2024, you know what I'm talking about. Insurance companies are playing games. I don't care if it's car insurance or home insurance, but that's a whole nother subject. But they did not get any reparations for their land. She lived in a wealthy part of the Greensboro. I think all the Greensboro was wealthy, but she was one of the prominent families, and she had instead of going to school, she had to live a hard life trying to make a living. So how dare they say the past has no effect on the present? So I don't care what the news is saying. I don't care how they're trying to project this Nottoway plantation home that burned down as some kind of tragedy of American symbol of justice and freedom. There's no way possible. This place, I don't care how much they spent on the weddings there. And that building was 53,000 square feet. So this is the humongous antebellum slave plantation mansion. You have 53,000 square feet of a home, of a house. You know how much torture must have went on. Have you ever watched 12 Years a Slave? You watch Roots. You watch, the Nat Turner movie, The Building of a Nation. I want you guys to also, being that this is Haitian Heritage Month, Haitian Flag Day, happy Haitian Flag Day, y'all, which was just yesterday, May 18th. I celebrated it here in Atlanta, Georgia with my family. We had a great time. You see the video and clips about that beautiful Sunday that we held here in Atlanta, Forest Park, Star Park. Let me tell you guys something. There's something called Boule Tete. Say Coupe Tete Boule Kai. Coupe Tete Boule Kai is a Haitian term that Dessalines created back in the 1800s, early 1800s. Haitian independence. All right. The Haitian Revolutionary War was the 13-year war. And if you want to talk about burning houses and burning down the slave owners' mansions and homes and all that, just wonderful things they tell you about, he had a campaign where they were chopping off the heads of the French people, the people who didn't want to leave Haiti because they gave them the opportunity to leave. Because they understood that if the white man is here in France owning properties, that means we will always have the potential of being re-enslaved. So they burnt the houses, they cut the heads. Not everybody, you know what I'm saying, but a lot of French people died. It was a couple of thousand that were killed because they didn't want to leave their land. They were so hell bent on keeping their land. And that Napoleon Bonaparte, who reinstated slavery after France abolished slavery, he reinstated slavery when he became Emperor of France. Now, this is very important because even though he reinstated slavery back around 1802, 1801, France to this day has a grip on Haiti and 14 other countries in Africa. That's why we must support Abraham Traore and Mali Niger's general in their solidarity, because the sovereignty of one of our nations is the sovereignty of all of them. So we must get reparations, not just here in America, but also in Haiti, also in the 14 countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Cote d'Ivoire, all these countries and several other countries in Africa that were enslaved, Congolese, by Belgium. They never tell you about what happened in the Congo. They always talk about what happened in Nazi Germany. You feel me? But they never tell you about what happened in the Congo where 15 million Africans were killed. They always talk about Hitler's the devil. Hitler's the devil, then King Leopold or King Tadpole II is the devil's father. You have 6 million Jews who died in Nazi Germany or around in Europe, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and these other countries that were infiltrated by the Nazis. But you have 15 million in the Congo. You have 35,000 who were killed and massacred in the Dominican Republic border of Haiti. They killed 35,000 Haitians in the span of a week. Back in 1937. So I want you guys to understand this. Even though that Nottoway mansion was built in 1859, and there was many other plantations around that time frame, you have so much else going on around the world around the same time that all was to the degradation and the destruction of black culture and civilization. I want you guys to pay attention, and let's not let just this burning of these buildings be our only form of reparations. We need financial reparations, whether it's property, free taxes, or tax-free for a year or 2 or 5, 10, or whatever, free education for our children in these educational institutions, whether it be college or trade schools. I'm an advocate for the trade schools. Because my business, Sky Clean Air Services, where we renovate houses and mold remediation, water damage restoration, skycleanairservices.com, by the way, in Atlanta, Georgia. I see the power in working with your hands. I'm not saying don't go to college and don't get that further education, but I'm just saying that you can make a substantial amount of money, guaranteed living, without having to completely depend on the market to make a living. As I'm here listening to the ancestors and the birds greet me early this morning, I'm getting ready to go to work, saw some renovations. But I want you guys to understand this. A house divided cannot stand, but a one that's unified could accomplish some great things. Peace, blessings, y'all. My name is King Kevin Dorival, KevinDorival.com. Please follow, like, subscribe, and love to hear your thoughts. Freedom forever.